If you've ever booked an excursion directly with your cruise line, then I've got some bad news for you. You were probably ripped off. I cruise about once a month, and honestly, I hardly ever book excursions directly with the cruise line. And today I'm going to tell you why. So here's what happens when you book your excursions with the cruise line. You get your ticket delivered to the cabin and it tells you what time to meet and where. Usually it's about 8 a.m. in the theatre. So you get up, you get showered, you get yourself ready. You probably do have to set your alarm for around 6 or 6:30, but once all that's done, you head to the theatre 10 minutes early and then you wait, probably for about another 20 minutes. Then everybody heads outside, you go towards the coach, which is very conveniently waiting outside the ship for you, and then you've got to wait another 10 minutes or so while everybody gets the tickets checked one by one. Then your coach sets off, you get to your first stop, and guess what? You've got 50 people who now have to get off the coach. Everybody wants a bathroom break, and you've got to get that done before you can even get started with your tour. You probably get about 30-45 minutes to look around, and then it's back to the bus. And because you're on the clock, the whole time you're just conscious that you're going to miss the coach and you need to get back. But someone's always late, aren't they? So then you sit on the coach for another 10 minutes waiting before you finally set off. And that's how your day goes, really. It's just a mixture of trying to be on time and then waiting for other people. And that's the problem, isn't it, when you go somewhere with a coach full of people? The other problem is, because you're in a big coach, you're kind of limited to the places where you can go. The coach can only park in so many places. It can't fit down the narrow lanes. And that means that your excursions are really limited to the super touristy locations. You're not going to be able to head off the beaten path. Meanwhile, the kids are usually bored out of their mind, to be honest. I'll be trying to point out things out of the window and they're just glued to their iPads because they really can't be bothered with it. I find that really frustrating because excursions can be so expensive. If you book a cruise line excursion in every port, you'll probably end up paying more than you paid for the rest of your cruise. Some of them cost hundreds of dollars per person for what is essentially just a really long day of sitting on a coach and waiting around. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of reasons why people book excursions directly with the cruise line. First of all, it's just the easiest thing, isn't it? When you book your cruise, they'll then get in touch via an email and they'll send you a list of all the excursions you can book. Or you can go to the desk on the ship and you can just pick which ones and you book them. It's super easy. You don't have to plan anything at all. You just pick a tour off the list, pay the money and then show up. And then, of course, the major selling point is the return to ship guarantee. So if you're on an official cruise line excursion and then let's say the bus breaks down and you're going to be late back to the ship, because you've booked that excursion with the cruise line, they will wait for you. There's absolutely no chance that they're going to abandon you there. So you've got that peace of mind in knowing that whatever happens, as long as you can get yourself to the coach is definitely going to get you to the ship. And that's really important, isn't it? Especially for first-time cruisers, because people do get left behind by cruise ships all the time. I've seen it happen multiple times. One time I was in Norway and the return to ship time was 3 o'clock, which is quite early, and I don't think people knew that it was going to be that early because 12 people ended up missing the ship, and I later found out that one of them was a family with young children. That is my absolute worst nightmare. I'm always super paranoid about missing the ship, and that alone can be a reason why someone might be happy to spend double the price on the official cruise line excursion just to make sure that they don't miss the ship. So yeah, the official cruise line excursions, they do feel safe and they are super easy. But here's what most people don't realise. You can get the exact same excursions or even better excursions with the guaranteed return to the ship for a fraction of the price. You just need to know where to look. So this is where Shore Excursions Group comes in. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't heard of them. But they have delivered over 5 million excursions so far. So what they do is they partner with the trusted local tour operators in each port, And often this is the same ones that the cruise lines use. It's just that if you book with Shore Excursions Group, then you're saving a lot of money because you don't have to pay all of those fees for the cruise line. The main thing that I love about booking excursions with Shore Excursions Group is that the groups are usually so much smaller. So the average group size is just 12 people, which makes such a difference compared to being in a group of 50 on a big coach. You get to spend more time exploring, less time waiting, and it's just so much nicer to have a tour guide who's speaking to you face to face rather than through the microphone when you're at the back of a big coach. And the great thing is as well that even with the better experience and the smaller groups, Shore Excursions Group excursions, they are usually so much cheaper. I've seen them as much as 40% cheaper for the exact same excursion. And also, they've got a lowest price guarantee, so you can be sure that you're getting the very best price that there is. Now, the important thing, what if you miss the ship? Well, I spoke to one of the bosses at Shore Excursions Group about this, and they said that in over 5 million excursions that they've delivered, people have only missed the ship a handful of times. So I like those odds. However, the other good thing to know is that if you do ever miss the ship on one of their excursions, they will fly you out to the next port, they'll put you up in a hotel, sort out all your meals for you, and then they'll also give you $1,000 per person to make up for the inconvenience, which isn't bad at all. That sounds like quite an adventure. So I've been on a few excursions with Shore Excursions Group now, and I just love the quality that you get. The tour guides have all been excellent, and instead of taking you to all the really touristy places, it gives them the freedom to take them to the places that they want to, that they know that you'll love. So they'll suggest like a local family run restaurant for you to go to. If you need a bathroom break, they'll be able to just stop and let you go, or they'll show you somewhere where you can buy snacks because they know that you're going to be in the car for a little while. In Madeira, we took an excursion and it was like an open top Jeep, and it was so much fun. Once we got up into the mountains, they opened the back and the kids were able to stand up in the back as we're whizzing through the mountains over all these bumps. And honestly, it was one of the best excursions that we'd ever had. And then he went around and showed us all the rest of the island as well. It was so much fun. So you can choose from over 4,000 different excursions, and they're all over the world. We've got city highlights, adventure tours, snorkeling, beach breaks, anything you want really. There's family friendly ones, there's ones if you like being active, cycling, whatever you want. You just need to have a look. You go on the Shore Excursions Group website, and all you do is you put in your exact cruise ship and the date that you go in, and then it shows you all of the different excursions that are available for you. And another good thing that I love as well is that there's loads of real reviews on the website, so you can read what other people thought of the excursion before you decide if it's right for you. And that's not something that the cruise lines usually offer with their excursions. They also do a money back guarantee, so if you're not happy with your excursion, you just let them know and they'll refund you. And then really importantly as well, there's a 24/7 helpline. So if you're ashore and anything happens, you need any help with anything, you can just ring this number and someone will sort you out. Now, here's something else to keep in mind. Sometimes on a cruise, you really don't need any excursion at all. So what I always do is I open up Google Maps and I find out where it is that the ship docks in that port, and then look what's around within walking distance. Because sometimes there's a really nice beach that's like a 5-minute walk from the ship, or you're right in the middle of the city centre and you can just wander around and look at the shops and cafes. You don't always need to do something. But then in some ports, it's the opposite. The ship might dock in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes there's a shuttle bus, but it just takes you to like a little town. And if you want to go to the big city or to where the attractions are, then that's when excursions can come in really handy. Also, if you just want to do something like go to a water park, for example, it's probably cheaper and easier just to get an Uber and get the tickets yourself than it is to do an excursion. So I would bear that in mind. But if you're in the kind of place where you want to visit lots of different places, you know, half an hour here, half an hour there, maybe have a tour of the island, then excursions can be perfect for that. I was on a cruise in Iceland recently and I decided not to do an excursion because it looked like you could just walk everywhere. And as I was walking around, I kept seeing the same big excursion coach turn up at the different places that I'd walked to. So the town was really small and people were just getting ferried around by a coach. They could have walked quicker. I went into the fossil museum. It was like $5 to go in, stayed there for about 20 minutes. But meanwhile, the people who were on the excursion, they're on their time, so they were in the museum for absolutely ages. They looked really bored. I don't know how much they paid for that excursion with the cruise line, but they'd just done the same things that I'd done, and I'd only spent $5. So yeah, definitely have a look at Google Maps before you book anything. So yeah, I hardly ever book excursions with the cruise line anymore. I do usually like to have a look to see what's on offer, and I will have that open in one tab, and then in the next tab I'll have Shore Excursions Group, and I can see that there's usually a much bigger choice. Everything's got smaller groups, everything's cheaper, and I know that I'm going to get that return to ship guarantee. So yeah, it's a no-brainer really. If you haven't considered Shore Excursions Group before, then definitely have a look at that for your next cruise. Most of the cruise lines are there on the website, so you can just pick the cruise line and your ship and get started. There are a few that aren't on there, but that doesn't mean that you can't use them. You just have to search by destination instead. So I've popped a link to Shore Excursions Group down in the description. If you decide to click through and use that link, then I will make a small commission on any bookings that you make. It costs you the exact same price either way. I just appreciate you helping me out. But honestly, that is not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because I've been paying far too much for excursions for years because I didn't realise that there was another option. And now I do know that there's another option. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. Honestly, once you try smaller independent excursions, you won't look back. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you've got any questions, ask away in the comments.